Hey gang, it's JC and this is the Daily Dose for Monday, October 8th, 2012. Combined venture with Mind Active in beautiful downtown Clayton. Great TV archives up top. JC's eye candy below. We always get to that at the end. And the results of our rock and roll poll. If the president is not reelected, do you think it'll be because his lackluster performance Wednesday night's debate was the thing that took him down, and 51% of you surprisingly said, not going to matter because I think the president is going to be reelected. We'll just see. 39% of you, number two answer, said it would be because he's a poor president, and 4% of you, by the way, believe that if he's not reelected, it'll be because he is a Muslim and not born in America. You know, it's very interesting because when I was a little kid, my parents, I'm sure you had the similar experience. In your neighborhood, you were always told one house to sort of stay away from. And you weren't always exactly sure why you were supposed to stay away from this house. You were just, your parents said, stay away from that house. And then as you got a little older, maybe an older brother or sister sort of explained to you that there was an odd person who lived in that house. And your parents just didn't want you going near there. And sometimes it was almost like the guy next door in Home Alone, except in that, you find out later that all that was just BS. But, in real life, it's the 4% of the people out there who show up in polls. It's just like this. That's the people that parents told you to stay away from. Stay away from that house. It's the 4% that think the president is a Muslim who wasn't born in America. All right, today's rock and roll poll question. Describe the condition of the tires on the car you drive most. I had an incident on Highway 40 about 5 o'clock in the morning many, many years ago. And I was driving along, terrible rainstorm, and I had this Mercedes-Benz 560 SL, and I was going to sell it. I knew I was going to be selling it soon, and the tires were getting a little bald, and I figured, I'm going to probably, you always have that push and pull. It's like, do I sell the car with the bad tires, hoping that somebody will just take it and say, okay, I'll just replace the tires? Or do you replace the tires thinking that the car will be more attractive? Now, in this case, the car was extremely attractive, low mileage, mint condition, the whole thing. Long story made short, I tried to get away driving this thing for the last few months that I had it with the bald tires. And I'm driving in 5 o'clock in the morning, Highway 40, torrential rainstorm, and all of a sudden the car just goes, woo, woo, and makes 2.5 complete revolutions on Highway 40. And then I end up sort of sailing off to the shoulder, and I looked behind me, and all the cars had stopped on Highway 40. And someone's like, the East German judge was very tough, only gave me a 7.5. So it's just one of those things that I'm dealing with a tire issue right now, and this is why these rock and roll poll questions are right out of my life, right out the top of my head. So the tires, they're brand new. A, B, they're in good shape. C, they're going to have to be replaced soon. Or D, I'm taking my life in my hands every time I get behind the wheel. Please answer down in the corners. The weather starts to get bad. People start thinking about things like tires. By the way, speaking of weather, I have to tell you a story. When I was 10 years old, I had the weather bug from, I was only 4, 5, 6 years old when I started getting interested in weather. I was stalking the poor TV weather guy at the CBS affiliate in Chicago, a guy by the name of P.J. Hoff, incidentally, and it made my father take me down there and meet him, and I interviewed him. Like 6 years old. I'm interviewing a meteorologist. It's just crazy. But I had the weather bug. 10 years old. I saved $30. I saved $30, birthday money and stuff like that. Now again, keep in mind, $30 back then, that's like, that's probably like $300 now, $250, $300. $30 back then? Absolutely. But I bought a barometer that I saw in a magazine or something like that. I spent my $30 when I was 10. I'm going to show you something. Look at that. That's the barometer I bought when I was 10 years old. The thing still works. It's unbelievable. It's got the little thing on it here that you move it around, then you can see how much it moved from the night before, the hour before, or whatever. I mean, think about that. How many things do you think that somebody has had for like 40 years that still work? And I'm not talking about your dopey uncle either. But I mean, some sort of, this is almost, it's not an electronic device at all, but it's still, got moving parts. It's a machine. It's basically a machine. Think about anything that anybody has had for 40 years that's still working right now. And actually, I'm lying. It's more like 49 years. But regardless, That's my weather story. I want to talk to you about people being out of touch. You know, there are consultants in the broadcasting business, way too many. There's people who claim to do research and understand how you should better relate to your audience. And in recent years, the radio and TV stations, and the newspapers for that matter, really lean on the talent to become involved in social media. You know, be tweeting, be on Facebook, send out stuff all the time. You know, tell them about your life, engage them, you know, respond to their questions, stuff like that. And then you have a thing that happened on Friday night. This is a gal who works in radio here, and she tweeted, she put out on Facebook on Friday night something to the effect of, oh gosh, it's Friday night, I just don't know what I should do. Maybe a good book, maybe a movie, I just can't decide. You know, presumably in an effort to engage people to get into a conversation. And I didn't want to do this because I felt sorry for this woman, because it was right in the middle of the Cardinal game. Right in the middle of the Cardinal game, and this woman's got no idea that the entire city of St. Louis, for all intents and purposes, has stopped dead in its tracks so go watch the Cardinal one-game playoff. This is the sort of stuff that drives me nuts. By the way, speaking of television, these incessant promos and crawls. Now, a crawl is something as you're watching it goes along the bottom of the screen, the text sort of runs. And in this case, it was in a big red thing with a black border running along the top of the screen. And it seems like they just ran it about every 5 minutes for the last weekend, especially over the weekend, because Channel 5 was having one of these battles that the TV stations have with either the cable company or DirecTV or Dish Network, and we've seen this happen multiple times. But Channel 5 just went completely overboard. You couldn't even watch the station over the weekend because they would run the crawl. You're trying to watch the news, you're trying to watch a show, this thing is running constantly, and then they'll go, okay, and we'll be right back. And then they go to a promo where they talk about it again. Hey! And by the way, I see everybody woke up on Monday morning and Channel 5 was there just fine, no problem. You know, we got nothing to do with this stuff. It's a battle between the TV stations and the satellite or cable providers about fees. And we're just pawns in the whole thing. We got nothing to do with it anyhow. By the way, not to pick on Channel 5, but this was funny because Mike did this story, I think it was yesterday. And this is exactly, I wrote it down word for word. Thousands of people walked through Forest Park today to find a cure for diabetes. Thousands of people walked through Forest Park to find a cure for diabetes. Apparently, the cure for diabetes is in Forest Park, and they just had to walk around to find it. It's a very poorly constructed sentence. All right, GLAAD has found out the number of LGBT characters on TV has increased to a record high. ABC is the most gay network in America, followed closely by Fox on cable. Showtime and HBO are again most gay friendly. ABC developing a reality show called Celebrity Splash. It's just like Dancing with the Stars, but instead of dancing, you would go up on a big platform and dive into a pool, and they would have. Believe it, that's not even an original idea. This was a show based on there was a show in the Netherlands where they're doing this. Mila Kunis has been named Sexiest Woman Alive by Esquire magazine. Virginia Madsen, Kate Bosworth, Jane Seymour, Elizabeth Berkley also on the list. I don't know where, I don't know. I used to think I knew, I don't know anymore. The Bachelor, this Ben guy and his chosen one, Courtney, have broken up, and that means The Bachelor TV show is now 0 for 16 in lasting relationships. Women get turned on by red faces. They get turned on by red faces. In a new study, women rated men with a little redness in their face as more dominant, aggressive, attractive, and healthier than men without it. Not a good day for Burger King, and I love Burger King. Junior Whopper is the way to go, though, and no fries. You just go in there, because a full-size Whopper is something like, I don't know, 18,000 calories or something. You get a Junior Whopper and you're fine. There's plenty of stuff on there. And I love Burger King. I don't really eat fast food anymore. Every once in a while I'll break down, get a Lion's Choice. Every once in a while I'll break down and get a Junior Whopper. But a new analysis of drive-thrus at the biggest fast food chains, Burger King got the worst in terms of getting the orders right. And in terms of how long you have to wait for your food, pick it up, Burger King. I'm on your side, for God's sakes. But that mascot you got, that guy with the head, the plastic head where the expression never changes, is freaky. Get rid of it, okay? And I don't even like it in the football games where you see him running for a touchdown. Burger King, by the way, gets high marks for placing their dumpsters farthest away from the drive-thru. Well, at least they had that right. Thousands of people in the country could be at risk for contracting bacterial meningitis. If you're unaware what that is, it's where bacteria eats away at the brain. It's almost like watching 20 minutes of TLC programming. And for JC's Eye Candy today, I got this one-man war going on, this one-man mission of sorts, trying to get people to see this movie, Searching for Sugar Man. And last night on 60 Minutes, Bob Simon did a great piece on Rodriguez, the artist, the 1970s folk singer from Detroit, who was bigger than the Beatles and Elvis in certain parts of the world, but never knew about it. And it's a tremendously inspiring story, even though I see now on the internet this morning there's people trying to poke holes in the story. I think it could win the Oscar for Best Documentary. The movie is called Searching for Sugar Man. It's being held over at the Plaza Frontenac. I've sent a lot of people over, got some very nice email back from people saying, oh my God, you're right, it's a great movie. What an unbelievable story. Can you imagine, you know how people think, there's some people out there who think that Elvis isn't dead? All right, so just imagine this. Just imagine if Elvis did just pop up and say, oh no, I'm not dead, and just perform at like 70 years old or 78 or whatever he is. This guy Rodriguez is 70 years old right now. I'm telling you, this movie is fantastic. It is one of the most amazing stories I've ever seen, and a lot of people agree with me. I think it could win an Oscar. The movie is called Searching for Sugar Man. The artist's name is Rodriguez, and that's all I can tell you. It's absolutely fantastic. All right, again, that's JC's Eye Candy, the 60 Minutes piece. Go look at it. Maybe it'll compel you to see the movie. And again, our rock and roll poll, talk to me about your tires, boys and girls. Answer down in the corner, and that's it. JC's Daily Dose for Monday, October 8th. And I got to tell you, if Columbus Day isn't the crappiest holiday that we have, I don't know what is. Everybody's working. In the meantime, we've beaten this one to death. Have a good one. See you later. Bye.